welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Sanyi Academy presenting Logic and Critical Thinking in English. Today we are going to start chapter 1, which talks about introducing philosophy. So before going to that point, I would like to invite you to subscribe, like, comment, share. Your friends to be member and active followers of this academy. Chapter 1, Introducing Philosophy. So, in this chapter, we are going to cover the meaning and nature of philosophy, basic features of philosophy, core fields of philosophy, metaphysics. Among those core fields, we are going to look at metaphysics and epistemology, axiology and logic, and also finally going to talk about importance of learning philosophy. So let us start by defining philosophy. Different individuals might say provide different definitions for philosophy. Since it is basic and also students are expected to have introductory courses at this moment, it's not important to get into the deeper to understand the wider definition of philosophy. Basically, philosophy is the study of general and fundamental problems concerning matters such as existence, knowledge, truth, beauty, law, justice, validity, mind, and language. These are not the only concern or issues that philosophy deals with, but these are some of the important matters that philosophy talks about. It tries to study these general and fundamental problems. So it tries to just provide general understanding of these issues and matters that we encounter in our life. Basically, philosophy has no specific subject to study because it is concerned to deal with issues of universal nature. Because, as you have seen, it is about to talk about the human issues that we all are subject to it. So, it is rational and critical enterprise that tries to answer fundamental questions. Bear in mind here, fundamental questions through an intensive application of reason, analysis, comparison, and evaluation. So it tried to provide a fundamental answer to fundamental questions. For example, what does it mean by something to exist? Or what does truth mean? What does knowledge mean? Beauty mean? Language mean? Validity, mind mean? What is exact definition in there? What is a rational understanding of these issues is a subject that philosophy deals. So it depends on reason by raising rational critics, examination of issues, and also analysis. It tries to get answer to these basic questions. So, etymologically, the word philosophy came from two Greek words, philo and sophia. This means love and wisdom, respectively. When we combine these two Greek words together, we obtain meaning love of wisdom. So, from this perspective, we say philosophy is love of wisdom. So it is a pursuit or it is a search for wisdom. When you enter into questioning, you start to find something, you start to discover something. So, if in this aspect you are going to develop wisdom, you are going to be wise. Wise is a person who has critical understanding of things and also base his investigation on rational inquiry, which is also has to be balanced inquiry. So here, when we say as a pursuit of wisdom, philosophy refers to the development of critical habits, the habit of critically examining things, or not accepting things as is. Rather, we have to examine it, we have to understand it, we have to develop the rational understanding of that concept. And also, we have to continuously search for the truth. As you know, our society depends on what we say common sense. We don't have the culture of examining things. So sometimes we have to continuously search for the truth, and also we have to question issues that are taken by the people as universally true, acceptable, and genuinely true. It pays attention to the issues of universal nature because other subjects, for example, like biology, geography, computer science, and others have their own specific field of studies. For example, truth is not a specific field of study. Justice is not a specific field of study. Hence, the best way to learn and understand philosophy is to philosophize. When you start to philosophize, you start to learn and understand philosophy. Philosophy is not a subject that you understand in a simple way or in a simple language, the normal understanding or examination of things. So, what is to mean by philosophizing? Philosophizing is to be confronted with philosophical questions. The first thing you have to do to philosophize is you have to come across philosophical questions. For example, what is life? This is a philosophical question. And also, we have to use philosophical language. Philosophical language are beyond a mere definition. So we have to use philosophical and logical language to support our evidence of searching for those truths, evidences, and others. In this case, we better understand and also involve in the project of philosophizing. And the other is be acquainted with different philosophical positions and maneuvers. What is to mean by philosophical positions? When you are arguing or making argument, you need to have a position. That means you have to either support or not support. And you have to try to address those points that you support and arguments you present so as to make people understand and also be acquainted with that issue. And even we need to go through reading philosophers themselves. What is their position? What is their argument and understanding? And also we have to grapple with issues that we discover by ourselves. We don't have to depend on others' work. We don't have to look for other people to help us come across those things. Rather, we have to raise the questions and then come across with the answer. So, if you raise the question and somebody else is doing the project, you are not philosophizing. So, you have to philosophize. You have to raise a question yourself and also answer it yourself depending on different materials that you prepare so as to prove your position. Socrates once said, wonder is the feeling of a philosopher, and philosophy begins with wonder. The appreciation, that means to think about something you are not sure about and also trying to guess what it is true. Each and every investigation starts with question. Question in the beginning of investigation. What does it mean to be a human? This is a basic question that philosophy is dealing with. So when you start to question this thing, when you start to forward question, you start to investigate. So you need to understand this. Philosophy starts with question, with wonder, and then wonder is also the character and feeling of philosophers. That is why you need to have a mind that is always questioning. Pythagoras is one of the known Greek philosopher and also some says mathematician. He used the word philosopher for the first time. Yeah, in history, philosophy, he used the word philosopher for the first time. As to him, who is the philosopher? What does philosopher mean? So, as to him, philosopher is a person who has a curiosity in the things he experiences. the person who has curiosity, the person who has initiation to learn and know more about things he experienced in his daily life. So, in order to become a philosopher, you have to have a curiosity to understand and learn what you encounter, what you come across in your daily life. So, philosopher is a person who has the initiation, the person who always tries to learn, who always tries to ask questions. So, anyone, philosopher is anyone who raises questions like, for example, does God exist? This philosophical question is very important. Majority have the idea that God exists. Every religion in this world has object of worship, has its own God. That God itself exists is a basic question. I want everyone watching this video to raise questions of this kind. Do you have any proof that God exists? What is your position in argument? What is reality? What is reality? What is to mean by something is real? So you have to have the complete understanding of reality. So what is the ultimate source of being? Where does everything we see in this world, beings we see in this world came from? We have to know that source. This is philosophical question. So a person who raises question of this kind is a philosopher. What is knowledge? Some people says, I do have a knowledge. So what does that knowledge mean? Do you have a complete understanding of knowledge? What does it mean to know? If you say, I know something, what does that mean? What does that mean to know? And also, how do we come to know? What are the ways how we come to know something? What is value? So these and others are also important point that we raise in philosophy. So philosophy is not a very tiny subject. It is very general. Each and every subject that we give and also learn in schools, even religion by itself has a philosophy. Philosophy is behind every subject, behind every source of knowledge. So you need to know this. That seeking wisdom is among the various essence of philosophy. The essence of philosophy is seeking wisdom because, as we have seen at the very point, we have read that philosophy is love of wisdom. Love of wisdom. When you love something, you seek it. So when you seek it, you may find it. So in this case, the very meaning, the very essence of philosophy is seeking wisdom. Seeking wisdom is the very essence. As to Socrates, seeking wisdom is a critical habit and eternal vigilance about all things and reverence for the truth in any form and at any place. When you start to search for truth, when you continuously dig to the deeper to understand the truth and come across with the ultimate meaning of life and nature of things, then you are seeking wisdom. That means going from apparent. It is a kind of getting out of the box. In our culture, majority of don't want to get out of the box. We don't want to ask questions. We don't want to scrutiny things that we have, our culture, our religion, personalities, politics, whatever. In our society, it is considered to be a kind of defamation or something deviation from the accepted ways of life. So we have to go beyond the things we know. We have to go beyond what we have at hand. We have to question our culture. We have to question our religion. We have to question the way people are performing and acting. So when we say question of the apparent, we are talking about when we deal about the phenomena of the world. Many people preach to us about God, but they don't know what God is because they don't have any proof that God is existent. So we have to go beyond that and ask them. We have to dare them to ask a question that who is that God? Do we have complete understanding of Him? So we have to go beyond the common understanding and also speculate about things that as a people accept with no doubt. Concerning religion, Karl Marx said, religion is the opium of people. If you want to control people, give them religion, not the truth. If you give them religion, they do not question. If you give them knowledge, they will question. Vincent Barry said, philosophical enterprise or philosophical project is when you actively use imagination by formulating proper questions and resolving them by rigorous analysis. So you have to raise fundamental questions and also form those reasons to prove that question is properly addressed. Accordingly, philosophy has three main aspects. Number one, it has a constructive side. That means it tries to formulate rationally defensible answers to fundamental questions such as reality, value, knowledge, and truth. It raises um, fundamental questions and try to understand or answer those questions in a very rational and also acceptable way. So it constructs rational answers to rational questions. The second aspect is a critical side. It is giving rational critic analysis, clarification, rational critic, analysis, clarification, evaluation of answers given to metaphysical, epistemological, axiological questions. So it does not simply give answers, rather, it examines it. It critically see whether those answers are appropriate to the fundamental questions raised. Otherwise, it is not a philosophical answer. So it has to critically examine, understand, clarify, evaluate, and also help people to understand those rational questions are really addressed. The third aspect of philosophy is an activity. Philosophy is an activity. That means philosophizing is a philosophical action. If you don't have philosophizing activity, then you are not going to make philosophy. So philosophy emerges out of philosophizing. That means philosophy is by doing. So you have to do philosophy. It's a project. It is an activity. You have to think. That means you have to critically think, conceptualize, analyze, compare, evaluate, and understand. Thank you very much for today's lesson. Uh, I want to remind you once again to subscribe, like, share, and comment so as to support Sunny Academy and also get notified all the time, every time new videos are uploaded. So I dare you to subscribe and hit the notification bell so as to be notified.